So you know what upsets me? No one knows Karim Benzema. People talk about how good he was, but then act like he was good for just a season, when really he had been balling even before he came to Real Madrid. Being amongst Leon's golden generation and how he had clubs struggling for his signature at a very young age, knowing well the kind of neighborhood he was from. Benzema wasn't actually normal.
Yeah, boy.
Not that. Focus. Benzema wasn't actually normal. By the age of 8, he'd already had Leon at his doorstep several times before his dad finally allowed him to join the academy. Once there, Benzema was the ball boy for a while, and once he was promoted to the under-16s, let's just say what he did next was out of this world. He scored 38 goals in the Championat National de 16 ANS, quickly becoming their star player. And just like that, he was in Lyon's reserve team in the 4th division of French football, where he scored 10 goals in his first 11 games, one of which, in true Benzema fashion, nutmegged 2 players and topped it off with a chip, resulting in a first-team promotion. However, Benzema was subjected to jokes by the older teammates, which led to him saying, "Do not laugh. I'm here to take your place." And that's when he pulled off stats only Antony could match. He had 6 goals in his first 6 matches and topped it off with the League 1 title. Just when he was turning into a meme, he pulled off crazy stats for someone his age. He scored 9 goals and assisted 5 in 25 matches, 5 of which were in the lower division. To put into context, Lamine Yamal scored 5 goals in 37 matches when he was the same age. The following season, Benzema scored in the first match, securing a 2-1 win over Nantes. And 3 weeks later, Benzema appeared as a substitute, scoring 2 goals to secure another win over OG Nice. After scoring 4 more goals and following an elite run of form, the unthinkable happened. Benzema suffered a severe knee injury, sidelining him for almost 3 months, and upon coming back, scored only 1 goal. Despite that, Lyon still won the league. Everyone started to think Benzema's career was over. Benzema responded with 31 goals in 51 matches, including a last-minute equalizer free kick against Saint-Étienne. He topped the league with 20 goals, scored 4 goals in the Champions League, 1 in the Coupe de la Ligue, and totaled 6 goals in 6 Coupe de France matches, helping Lyon win their first ever double. Topping it off with the League 1 Player of the Year, selected to the Team of the Year, the trophy due Myler Buter for being the league's top scorer, and the 2008 Bravo Award given to the most outstanding young player. To be frank, the only better youngsters I've seen are 2009 Mudryk, 2008 Antony, 2014 Richarlison, and 1956 Endrick. He started his 2008 to 2009 campaign scoring 2 goals in the opening match. 3 weeks later, he scored goals against Rhône-Alpes rivals Grenoble and Saint-Étienne, and scored a goal against Nice, converting a penalty in the dying seconds, earning a nomination for the FIFA 09 cover. He was among the top scorers in the Champions League group stage, scoring 5 goals, a double against Steaua Bucuresti, 2 goals in 2 matches against Fiorentina, and a goal against the eventual group winners Bayern Munich on the final match day of the group stages, and soon enough both. Real and Barca were in the race for his signature. And when everything seemed perfect, reality kicked in. Benzema later found himself in a sex scandal, which Zahia Dahar later claimed she lied about her age. After the winter break, Benzema found it hard to regain his form. He went scoreless for 3 matches, scored 7 goals for the rest of the season, twice as less as he did in the first half of the season, and eventually the title was lost. And even so, Fiorentino didn't think twice about signing him. Injured, Benzema broke into the starting 11, scoring in every competition possible, ending the season with 26 goals and 9 assists in 48 games, averaging a goal contribution every 97 minutes, only behind none other than Cristiano Ronaldo. By the end of the season, he had Florentino Perez himself praise him alongside Mourinho and national team manager Laurent Blanc. Well, the summer was all it took for him to get better. He attended a high-performance clinic in Verona, Italy, shedding 18 pounds and emerging with a lean, athletic physique. He was no longer the slow, chubby kid everyone knew. That season, with Real Madrid trailing 4-3 on aggregate against Barcelona, Benzema scored the equalizer, only for Messi to give Barca the Supercopa de España 6 minutes later. And 52 matches later, he scored 32 goals and assisted 19, averaging a goal contribution every 65 minutes. The following season, we all know what happened. The team managed to win only the Copa de España, and for Benzema, he scored only 20 goals, but more importantly assisted 21, only behind none other than Mesut Ozil. And once again, the Spanish media were after him. He faced several criticisms despite averaging a goal every 72 minutes. And once again, his own fans were against him, to the point that Karim Benzema came out and publicly said, "Real Madrid fans won't let me fail." Benzema started off his season strong, averaging a goal every 106 minutes in La Liga. And if that wasn't enough to get the fans worshipping him like a king, he scored the only goal against Pep's Bayern to qualify for the Champions League final, just days after, assisting this masterclass to secure the Copa del Rey title. And sure, they didn't lose the Champions League final. Real Madrid ended up bottling the treble as Karim watched from the sidelines due to a knee injury. After involving in a scandal that took a toll on his mental health, struggling to get back to fitness, he had a hell of a stinker season. It was so awful that the supporters suggested real sign Raheem Sterling. My boy Benzi scored only 15 La Liga goals, which was a trophy in Benzi's eyes. But yet, as usual, he shocked everyone the following season. As the new season began, it was expected that Benzema would be slowly eased into the team as he missed the opening game due to a muscle injury. But well, on the very next match, he scored his first goal of the campaign, and on the very next one, he scored a tap-in to secure his second goal of the season. And by his 8th game of the season, he had already racked up 6 goals. But well, the party didn't last too long. Benzema pulled his hamstring in a match against Armenia, just for France to announce that he has been suspended from the national team due to another scandal. And about 24 days later, Benzema was finally fit. After a very quiet November, he scored his first hat-trick against Malmo. And as if that wasn't enough, he scored another hat-trick just days after against Rayo Vallecano. Then he went on a run of 10 goal contributions in 9 matches before being sidelined again due to a back injury, only to pull his hamstring again in the second match he played back from injury. And 5 days later, he was on the pitch to rack up another 10 goal contributions in his last 7 games in La Liga, only for Madrid to bottle the trophy by just 2 points. But Mr. Champions League crushed the hearts of Atleti fans and brought home the Champions League, which was the only trophy they won that season. In this world, there are only 3 things that you can guarantee: death, taxes, and Madrid beating Atleti in the UCL. Over the next 2 seasons, he struggled to regain his form, but believe me when I say, without him, the three-peat would have never been possible. All I can say is that Ronaldo's goals won matches, but Benzema's brilliance won trophies. And with the departure of Cristiano and the arrival of a certain hair designer, my boy Benzi finally received the spotlight for the first time in his career. But it wasn't all fairy tale. Karim Benzema would fail monumentally in his attempt to fill Cristiano's shoes as Real got knocked out in the round of 16 of the UCL, finished 3rd, 9 points behind Atleti, in the league table, and got trashed 3-0 in the second leg of the Copa del Rey by Barcelona. And by the end of the season, spread across the table was nothing but only the FIFA Club World Cup, where they played against Sushi FC and a certain Oil FC. Though the next season, no matter if at this point Benzema was still keeping his numbers, Madrid went on to sign Eden Hazard for a club record $115 million. In the words of the media, the new Ronaldo. And only a few months later, Hazard was out injured, meaning once again all hopes were on Benzema. When La Liga restarted after the pandemic, Benzema put down 9 goal contributions in 11 games, finishing as the club's top scorer with 27 goals in all competitions to secure Real another La Liga title. And those were his worst numbers. Despite Benzema playing incredibly well the following season also, something just didn't seem to click. You know what the problem was? Benzema played more as a number 10 than a number 9, acting more as a supplier and starting build-ups, while Ronaldo covered him up top. If you made it this far, can you please hit that like button, because it wasn't easy putting all this information in one video. If this video gets 5,000 likes, I promise to do a face reveal. And with the arrival of new manager Carlo Ancelotti, very well known for bringing out the best in his players, for the first time in his career, Benzema took on the number 9 role alongside the captain armband. And let's just say what happened next was straight out of fairy tale. Benzema went on a scoring spree, netting 9 goals in his first 10 matches, averaging a goal contribution every 50 minutes. Unfortunately, he pulled his hamstring mid-season, and once he was back, he went on another run, scoring 5 goals in his next 4 La Liga games, before suffering a calf injury while helplessly watching Real get torn apart by Barca as he watched from the stands. And well, like that wasn't enough, what he did in the UCL was straight out of a movie. For some odd reason, he failed to score against Inter in both legs. In the next match, he stepped up to take the penalty and smashed it top corner to drag his team back on level terms, only for his teammates to fail him in the 89th minute. He then scored and assisted a goal as Real went on to demolish Shakhtar Donetsk 5-0 in the next match. And with Madrid looking for a win to be guaranteed a spot in the round of 16, he did what he does best by scoring arguably the most clutch goal of all time, just for Shakhtar to equalize minutes later. And with not much time left on the clock, he did it again, securing a spot for Madrid in the round of 16. And that's when things began to get real. Following a 1-0 defeat at Parc des Princes and conceding just 38 minutes into the first half of the second leg, PSG were the favorites to qualify. The Madrid fans couldn't help but pray for a miracle, and God answered their prayers. And the miracle came in the form of Karim Benzema. Out of nowhere, Donnarumma made a blunder, and Benzema quickly capitalized. 15 minutes later, he'd managed to put his name on the scoreboard with an amazing stunner. And just 2 minutes later, he'd put his name on the score sheet one more time to complete the comeback and the hat trick. The very next game, he'd have his name on the scoreboard 3 more times to complete another hat trick. And as Chelsea tried him on a comeback, just 6 minutes in extra time, Vinicius took the ball to the left flank and delivered a perfect cross just for Benzema to crush every Chelsea fan's heart. Again, he went on to score 2 more goals in this goal marathon, and once again they found themselves behind. However, Madrid ended up conceding another goal with just 17 minutes left on the clock, and suddenly all hopes were lost. And with 2 additional minutes left on the clock and a 1% chance of qualification, some fans were already leaving the pitch. Another miracle unfolded. Rodrigo got subbed in with 3 minutes left to play. Benzema made a beautiful assist to bring the aggregate to 5-4. And whilst many thought it was just a consolation goal, Madrid had other plans, because just a minute later, Rodrigo scored the equalizer. In just 6 minutes in extra time, Benzema got fouled inside the box. With 60,000 fans holding their breath, Benzema proceeded to smack it into the bottom right corner to send Real Madrid to the final against Liverpool. And well, we all know what happened. That season he ended up scoring 44 goals in 46 games and assisted 17 times. And had De Bruyne and Courtois sitting there and watching as he snatched the UEFA Player of the Year award right under their noses. And by the end of the season, everyone knew who deserved the Ballon d'Or, and he did win it with the biggest margin in the history of the awards. Let me know which player I should do next in the comments. And by the way, out of those 44 goals, 15 of them came from the Champions League. I will be leaving the link to my Instagram in the descriptions.